you were chosen.
Yeah. All right, we're on the air.
I know, we're still, 5 o'clock.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Welcome to the Select Board meeting for December 17th, 2024. Last one this year. Made it through another. Title Award. With me are Select Board members Bill Kennedy and Bill Taylor. We have Nicole McStay, our town administrator at the table, and Danica Malone, our town planner with us too. And then AI will be taking minutes this evening, correct?
Yep.
We are. We're already in the future.
Seriously?
We're trying it
Yeah.
out, yes.
Oh, I think that's so exciting.
Yeah, so, and we're on air, and of course, all of our meetings are archived on the town website. Tonight's agenda, we posted the Grove Street Bridge. We're going to make an announcement about that, weight restrictions. We'll vote to appoint a new police officer. That's good for Chief Gennaro. We had some minutes from November 19th to possibly approve. I didn't read them. And this was the first ones that AI,
Well, technically it was me. There wasn't a lot of discussion, so it was easy for me to just rip right through it.
okay.
Yeah.
You did, okay, great. We have a little email correspondence, and then we have some visitors this evening that have a topic under new business?
Other business, yeah.
Other business. Excellent. Is that everything? All right, up first.
Yep.
Grove Street posting.
Yep, so this is, as you probably recall, this has been a little bit time coming. Seth has presented the need to refurbish the Grove Street Bridge. We have had engineers from HTA keeping an eye on it. They check it out about once a year, every year for the last 3 years. When Joseph took a look at it this past fall, he came back going, all right, I think we're ready to put these weight restrictions in. Spalding is getting pretty bad. We've got the work coming up already planned for the summer. Now that the Main Street Bridge, of course, is open with no restrictions on that, it's very easy to detour the truck traffic down over that bridge in and out. Seth has already been around to all of the businesses downtown, the restaurants, and Roy's making sure that everyone who gets big deliveries, from any kind of 18-wheelers, is aware of that so they can let their delivery companies know about that change. We're, again, still planning to do that bridge refurbishment this spring, upcoming spring, summer, hoping to have that done probably before August. It should go pretty quickly once they get in there. It's really weather dependent. So.
Great. Yeah, I saw the other day, I went over and checked it out. When I was walking my dog, I saw the signs were posted. They're not really all that visible. I mean, the white signs, they say the 15-ton limit, but 15, yeah, 15 ton.
Yep.
And as I was walking over the bridge, a big white truck.
Yeah, came right through.
Big
Yep.
delivery truck.
Yep.
So, will GPS be notified to reroute?
They will.
How does that
They'll
work?
start picking it up. They'll start picking up the. It's just a little bit of a process for that to catch up.
If I was driving a big truck, I'd much prefer to go over the Main Street Bridge anyways.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, I understand emergency vehicles may sparingly use it, but
Yes,
attempt to.
as needed.
Yeah. Any questions from you?
What does refurbishment mean?
So that means they're going to pull the deck off, which is the part that you drive over. They'll be redoing that. They'll be going around and cleaning up all the masonry structures, making sure that all the joints are in good shape. They'll be checking the drainage, making sure that's all in good shape. And they'll be redoing the sidewalks. If there's any kind of utilities that are built into the bridge, all that will get looked at and replaced as necessary. It's not like the Main Street Bridge was a complete tear down and rebuild. This is really just going to be the parts, mostly it's just going to be the roadway, the deck itself.
Oh, and then you know what that means. Soon after, we all know what that means soon after, right? Grove Street will be paved.
That is true, yes,
Right?
that's in the plan
More
as well.
potholes and bumps and
Yeah.
headaches.
And then people will be speeding on it right after that.
Yes, exactly.
Revenue from.
Yeah, right down the hill.
Excellent. Anything else about that?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, speaking of speeding tickets, we have a new police officer about to be appointed.
Yes.
Michael Eneguess.
Yep.
Any information about
Sure.
Officer Eneguess?
Yep, Officer Eneguess is a full-time police officer in the town of Greenfield. This is a part-time position that he's looking to fill for us. All the reports are very positive. Chief Gennaro is very excited to have him on board.
Born and raised in Peterborough.
So remember?
He comes from a long line of
Also,
Eneguess.
that's, okay,
Sally and
there you go.
It's Sandy's nephew.
nephew.
Okay. Great.
Has there been a private question, has there been a select board authorization of the beard that he was wearing?
You're letting it grow out.
Is that an annual thing?
That actually is in a non-public session.
I'm sorry. Personnel matter.
Personnel.
I would make a motion that we appoint Michael Eneguess to the Peterborough Police.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks. Oh, did anybody else?
Any other comments?
Excellent. And we also received a letter about Officer Reichel, commending her on the help she gave someone in distress with their vehicle.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
so-
She really went above and beyond.
Yeah, that was emailed to us this week. Okay, the minutes, the AI minutes with assistance from Danica on November 19th.
Have we come to that? That humans are serving?
Pretty soon we won't have to be.
I make a motion that we approve those.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
I'm gonna abstain because I didn't read them, but I'm sure they were great. All right. Oh, I should also mention one more thing. We had an email from Seth reminding or informing us that the wastewater treatment plant was awarded the plant of the year
Right.
for the state of New Hampshire, right?
Yes.
Again, some big hitting towns that are pretty.
Isn't there a
pretty
trophy
fancy.
in the form of a toilet?
I don't know about
I think Nate was.
Golden toilet.
Golden
Came
toilet.
off an airplane.
I think Nate was working on that.
that because they deserve it.
They deserve it.
Make it, wanted to thank them. Okay, now, up next, we have some guests.
That should be in the paper. I mean, that's a big deal.
It should be.
It was.
It was in the paper.
It was in the paper.
Oh,
Oh, it was not in paper?
I haven't read
It
today's.
was on Facebook, that only matters.
Well, maybe the paper didn't pick it up yet.
Anyway.
That's possible.
You could ask the AI to put it in the paper.
There you go. All right, great. So Dave Baum, Francie Von Mertens. and-
Yep, I'll start. Francie Von Mertens, Peterborough. I've spoken to each one of you individually and with concerns about the Monadnock Co-op in Keene opening up a co-op here in Peterborough. And we thought it was a good idea to come here because you guys are the select board and you want to know what's going on. And so rather than me talking with individuals, here we are. We won't take much of your time. And how'd they do? Pretty brief.
Very brief.
Go, your turn.
Thank you. David Baum, Peterborough. The purposes of this conversation, or really just presentation, is to put on your radar and hopefully put to the front of your radar what feels like a relatively fast developing situation. And it has been going on for a while, apparently very quietly and privately, but wanted you to be aware of it. And so I'm just going to give you a little bit of context for maybe 4 minutes. And pardon me, I wanted to be crisp and use your time well, so I have notes. And then there's an ask that will come at the end of this. I have always been a huge fan of Walter Peterson, and he taught me a lot. And one of the things that Walter taught me when I first moved here is beware of unintended consequences. And that's kind of the general framing of what I want to share. So this is something I really want to move forward on your radar, and it's information that has come to our attention. And I'm only speaking in my capacity as a citizen of Peterborough who loves this town. My wife obviously is very committed to Peterborough. I feel like I do a lot in my own ways. And it has to do with the idea that the Monadnock Co-op has been discussing, and based upon what they have been sharing with their members, that they are landing on the idea, if not have already closely decided, to come to Peterborough and open up and expand into Peterborough. So what you need to know contextually is that once we heard that, and I started to think about what the implications would be, I started to reach out to their chair, Deirdre Williams, on a number of occasions, saying, would it be possible to have a conversation? Could we have a cup of coffee? Could I hear where you are? Could we have a private conversation with your board? And have been politely, kindly, but politely rebuffed every time with it's not our policy, et cetera, because I know in my work that really the last thing you want to do in any potential conflict is to initially start it in a public setting, in a board conversation. It's so much better if it's a more casual thing. But the answer has been no to this date. I want to just say that I love the co-op, actually. I am a customer. I've thought about becoming a member whenever we have a need for good food at various points in large capacity. Oftentimes we'll go there. But what I did is I started going to my network, including the founder of Organic Valley, the largest organic co-op in the country, the founder of Stonyfield Farm Yogurt, and also the founder of Maple Leaf Foods, the largest food producer in Canada, and asked them, what do you think? What would be the implications? What would happen here? And they all came back fairly unanimously that the unintended consequences, I don't think it is the intention, I think the co-op's values are really wonderful and positive and their culture is very good, but the unintended consequences is it will likely be the same as if Walmart were to move into town. That it would basically be a major impediment and potentially destroy any food business, related business in Peterborough. So whether it's Roy's or Monadnock Eats or Aesop's Tables and 12 Pine, I could go right down the list, but they would be such a powerful, attractive draw that it would pull anyone who either wants to buy food or is interested in a cafe. And it isn't that they're bad. I mean, I think they're really quite wonderful in what they do. But in our town, I think what would occur, it would be quite catastrophic. And when I moved here 30 years ago, Peterborough was kind of here. And I have watched through hard work and much of the good stuff that you've done and business development and Science Stand and all of that, a kind of a raising of how we've done. We certainly feel like the town is so different than it was before. And we're in a transition cycle where new people are coming in and buying these landmark businesses that we've had that have been the heart of the community. And I think it's a risk, a very big risk. And I live here, but I work in the larger world, and I can say from my experience in the business world that I live in, I'm not going to say, I don't want to get like overwhelmed and say 100% confident, but I would say 85% confidence, it will really detrimentally affect our small businesses, anything having to do with food. And I see it from where I sit and what I do and the world in which I operate as a surprising existential threat to our community in terms of its long haul. Now, I do believe that the co-op, they are very good people doing what they think is a good thing, but without truly understanding the economic impact it will have to our economy and our position and as a community. And I know that they don't want to move into a community and essentially really destroy the economic fabric of the community they move in, but it's hard for me to imagine that it could happen any other way. Now, it is beyond at this point, from my understanding and what I've been able to read, beyond a rumor. They are quite far down the road. They've been looking at this for 2 years and talking about this for 2 years. And their position has been, and I understand it and appreciate it, that when they have settled on a site, and I think they're actually quite close, when they have settled on a site, they will open it up for public comment. But here's what I know as someone who teaches decision-making for businesses in 3 of the top 10 business schools in the world and work a lot in this area, that the sunk costs that have been going on and may continue to go on in terms of time, energy, resources, studies, visits, site visits, all that kind of stuff, will get them to about an 80% yes before they even open up to the public. And from my point of view, I think that's a little bit dangerous or very dangerous, and it would be better if we could actually be more involved in their process before they've decided than after. So Our ask is this. I have requested, and you were CC'd on a brief letter that I sent to their chair. We've asked to go in front of their board and basically ask them the question, where are you in the process? How far along is it? What are your basic intentions? Where is Peterborough in terms of your list of priority organizations or towns you want to move into? Towns, not organizations. And are you aware of the economic detrimental impact it will have to our community if you move here? I have not yet received a response from their chair. It was an email that was sent yesterday, so I understand she would have to check it in. But if we are allowed to do that, and she said we're welcome to make a presentation to their board, the request is that either, if appropriate, one of you or all of you will come join us so that we can be part of that conversation. And you, as the select board, who really are the people who have the responsibility of overseeing our town and looking out for the good of the whole, for what is best for everybody, will hear it firsthand, and you will be up to speed. And then, we'll just keep the conversation going and see what we can do. So the request would be, if it's in your purview, come join us, and we would really welcome having you there. So I'll open up for any questions or comments or thoughts.
My turn?
Yeah. Well, I do want to have, let me just ask if there are any questions at this point.
I'd like to say something in a while, because
I
I
have
have,
a question,
and then have the questions.
Okay.
As you know, as a board, the investment, I'm downtown. That's where I've done work with other committee members. And the town, with select board leadership and approved funds by town meeting, a new parking lot, infrastructure, streetlights. Everyone knows, any land planner, citizen, any consultant, you need a vibrant, alive downtown. And once you have boarded up anything, not good. So recognizing that, and not only have the taxpayers and the select board supported important projects in the downtown towards keeping it really healthy. Downtown 2000, we had a consultant come and work with the town, Phil Hare, 25 years ago. And from that, the Downtown 2000 committee formed. And we, David said no props, but the Baptist church burned down. Downtown 2000 focused a fundraising. We had a big thermometer fundraising goal, and we raised a fair amount of money, but not enough. And we were at a meeting when we heard that a wrecking ball, whatever, was coming from, I think, Antrim. And we, right then and there, got pledges, a significant amount of money, and the wrecking ball turned around. And now we've got Mariposa. Someone bought it. I don't really remember the details, but eventually David Blair bought it, and we have Mariposa Museum. I always make too many tote bags and T-shirts when fundraising, so I have some left over. It's an amazing design. Baptist Church building, destroyed by fire, January 1, 1999. That was a really cold day. Remember? Oh, we froze, and the fire, all the water froze. Destroyed by fire, January 1, 1999, restoration by the community. The town bought from Yankee Magazine more recently the land behind and around the Toadstool for parking and a park. There was a group of citizens who had an arts auction and raised $20,000, which was what was needed to complete the price that the town paid. And then the second arts auction raised more money, $30,000, and that went towards the landscaping for the park. My point is that citizens know the importance of the downtown. But lastly, Cy Gregg and Stan Fry, what they have done, and my sense is it's not for profit, but it's for community. And I remember when Danny and Joni Tebow, 12 Pine, was a little shoebox then they went to Stan Fry and said, we would like to take over the old railroad building, which at that time was rug storage and a pet shop. And Stan Fry said, sure. And so they refurbished the building, wonderful 12 Pine, as you see it now. And that really was a spark for downtown Depot Square. So, my point, what we want with that co-op, Monadnock Co-op, is a community conversation. If you read their mission statement, 7 points for goals, 7 points for principles, it's all about serving the community, including the economic, a sustainable, growing local community. Those are all their mission statements. And so we're a community that they're looking to come to. And we think they owe us a community conversation. And we were told by the chair, well, when we have a site, what David said, then we'll open up for conversation. And his, what's your term?
Sunk costs.
Sunk costs. It's very hard to slow the momentum down there. So we want a community conversation. And I think that's reasonable. And whether you come to it as individuals or a board, again, your purview. But a community conversation is what we want. And we, the two of us, represent a lot of people. A lot of people we're talking to. And the initial, I was just talking with Sue Chalet today, and she said, oh, great. And then she said, oh, wait a minute. What is it? It's a full-service grocery. That's what they say, full-service grocery. It's not just organic, it's non-organic. They have a cafe. So that's their term. We think a full-service grocery is what we want. So, thank you.
Sure. I think, obviously, we've talked about it. We've talked about businesses that have come to town and how we really are bound by, well, we're not bound. We have no say in what businesses do come to town. But what we do have is a master plan, and we have an economic development authority who work to mostly, I see, to downtown efforts. And so I think that's where the angle should be, if there is an angle from the town government, is what has our master plan stated over the years? How is it supported to support the downtown? And certainly, we've all had experiences with larger businesses putting smaller businesses out. I have a family history with that, where part of my extended family lost their business because of a Walmart situation. So we all know that threat of that bigger business hurting others. I would go to a forum like that. I don't know if it would necessarily be as the chairperson, but as a citizen, as someone from the select board. People know that I'm on the select board, but I would certainly go there as a voice and share any concern, and certainly find information in that master plan that would plead the case for our downtown businesses. Right? I can't speak for you two guys. I don't know what you would do with it. How you feel about it. But short of that, I don't know what else the board could do.
Well, excuse me, there are a number of different avenues. You mentioned several of them. I don't feel comfortable meddling in business decisions, but as a citizen, I think it's rather tragic on their part to choose Peterborough as a site with all the competition that's already here. I mean, why do you want to wade into that? It's kind of a stupid decision as far as I'm concerned, from what I can tell. But in any case, there's also a community conversation that's very effective. In fact, Max, which you need to leave pretty soon here, came out of a community conversation. And it's a vehicle to get people to be aware of what's going on and get that kind of feedback. The EDA is a good spot to apply. Chamber of Commerce, do they have any say in any of this? I mean, to get involved.
No, it's not really in the mission of the chamber to get that deep into the needs of the business.
Okay. And I fully understand, and I sympathize with the need to protect our community. Of question about it. Yet another Keene-centric, so many services come out of Keene. We're kind of a waste, not a wasteland here, but really a kind of a desert when it comes to social services and things like that.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's all I have to say. Will you keep us informed as to when these?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill, do you have any thoughts on this, just from a citizen point of view, or your thoughts?
Well, I never want to see one of our local businesses get run out of town. That's first and foremost. I also don't want to officially come out on the record and say, I'm going to work against a business coming to Peterborough, because for any other business that might want to come, it's certainly not a good look.
Yeah.
So, it's, it's sort of dangerous ground in that regard. But I don't think anybody wants to see our local businesses that would be hurt by that. I don't think anybody wants to see that damage. And I like, sort of echo what Bill said, it doesn't sound like a sound business decision to me. To A, have so much sunk costs into when you don't even know what your site is gonna be. So.
And our small population. So, great, thank you for bringing this to us, and certainly people will hear about it. And I think the unintended consequences are a really important thing to bring to people's attention.
Yeah.
You hear, oh, that's coming, great, and you don't think about
That's what gave it unintended consequences.
Yeah. Thank you, Walter, for that one.
Yeah.
As to contacts for these various groups, like the community conversation, which are held over at the history, and then also the EDA, I can certainly put you in touch with the chair, Megan Sumoco. I think I mentioned her to you. She's a good friend of mine, so I'm sure they want to hear about this. And I don't know when the next EDA meeting is scheduled, but I think Tricia's under that, right?
January.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So I
January.
will make sure that Tricia will notify you when the next meeting is and get you on the agenda.
I think our sense is that who the co-op is, it's a nonprofit, it's so community-based, it's member-owned, and they're there for the good of the community. And I think they are very good for Keene population 20,000, Peterborough 6,000 something. But that's an aside. We think it's the right thing to do for them to, and it's a smart business move too, is to approach the community and saying, you are a wonder, whatever they want to say, and this is what we would bring to you. And we think they owe us that by doing the right thing.
Well, if they truly do have a conscience like that, then they will participate in the
Yeah,
community
and I-
conversation. So
And maybe that's the good news here, is that they haven't approached Peterborough and said, hey, look, we're gonna do this. It just kind of came as a roundabout way that we found out about it from you. So maybe they're not all that serious about it, because if they were, you would think that we would have been told.
Well, they have posted it in their newsletter to their members that they are very serious about it. And to quote Lyndon Johnson, if you don't engage me at the takeoff, don't expect me at the landing. So I think it's really important that we be part of that conversation earlier, and that's really all we were trying to do, is to get in front of them and to let them know that though well-intended, and it seemed like a good idea at the time, it could actually have very significant economic impacts for us in a very bad way. And we wanted to make you aware of that and let you know that we're thinking about it. Any support that we could get and the right people to talk to and what can be done, we welcome your support.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. That's it. All right, thank you, everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
Have we
So
done-
moved.
Done? Thanks, everybody.
I remember when we first moved into town, it was a ghost town then. I mean, it was nothing.
Yeah.
Well,